Welcome to the Mind of Mir with two-time UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir, Las Vegas headliner Mike Hammer, and joining us today, Jennifer Mir.
All right, everybody, I'm back with another episode of Mind of Mir with my lovely wife, Jennifer Mir, at Mrs. Mir on Instagram, and
You're not so lovely.
my very interesting friend, Mike Hammer.
I wish I could be lovely, but I'm not. So, what's up, you guys?
No, it was great so far, actually. Well, so far, are you happy with what you're seeing? What's going on with the show? We're doing right now before we opened up. You were kind of working through some of the growing pains of us trying to make some adjustments and
the kinks.
Well, I say the viewers tell us what's going on, right? Like if you guys see anything, we started recently with the show. So if you see something we don't catch, we're open to opinions and tips and suggestions. And we might tell you to fuck off, but we'll take it, right?
The internet is there to solve problems, man. The Reddit.
It is. Hey, I got a question. This is so stupid and so coincidental, but Jennifer, you posted a video of a kangaroo, a guy getting attacked by a kangaroo.
Yes. Well, I saw that, and I'm like, okay.
No, I know you saw it. I said you posted a story about it.
It was so funny.
But I swear, I'm not making this up. This is so weird. Before I saw that, though, the same day, though, I said, oh, I want to ask Frank, how would he fight a 200-pound kangaroo? Because sometimes
you did not think that.
I swear to God, I was like, I saw the story and I'm like, oh my God, I have to tell Frank because I was going to bring this up anyway. So there's this man that in your video, what happened in your video that you had? What was it exactly?
It was just a guy it looked like it was just a guy trying to contain this kangaroo, but it looked, they ended up like fighting each other. It was so funny.
But that seemed like a smaller kangaroo. But Frank, so a kangaroo could get up to 200 pounds, and they're all muscle. If you've seen the arms, it looks so weird. How would you fight a kangaroo?
Offhand, I think I would go ahead and just take it out of its element. Whenever somebody does something, if they're moving forward, orientating, like, for example, the kangaroo seems to like to sit back on his tail to involve his hind legs.
Okay, so I didn't know if you knew that. That's what they do, right?
Right. So that being said, if I saw him, like, okay, so he's comfortable there. Let me make sure it's as difficult as possible for him to get to that position. So I think I would use like in MMA, we use the calf kick. I think I'd be a tail kick. I'd be constantly trying to knock him off balance. Because that thing jumps like 20 feet in one bound. So I can only imagine if it rears back and pulls back, and then you put talons on, claws on the end of those things, the amount of, it's going to eviscerate me if it catches me with one of those shots to the gut.
Okay, so let me tell you how a kangaroo fights, and then you tell me what you would do. All right.
How do you know this is what I want to know.
Because I went and looked it up afterward, because I'm like, wait, because they do the weirdest thing. So Frank is right. They balance on their tail a lot. They can pretty much hold their body up on their tail. It's the weirdest thing. But what they try to do is grab you with their claws. I'm calling them claws, but they look like claws. They grab them. They're pretty sharp. They grab you anywhere on the body, and what they try to do is kick you. So they lean back on their tail, grab you with the claws, and then they kick you real hard with their legs. Right. So, but from what I can see, they can't turn real well. So I think you might be able to outbox it.
Yeah, well, again, if you watch anybody that throws the low calf kick, you don't do it right in front of somebody. If you and I are fighting and I'm at your 12 o'clock, if I'm at your 12 o'clock and I throw the calf kick, I'm balancing on one foot and I'm right in the prime area of your power. So a lot of us always bounce the outside when we throw the kick. So if you watch, wherever I place my supporting leg is where I'm going to be. So you kind of skip into it. You'll drop your supporting leg at probably a 45-degree angle of the person, 22-degree angle. And then when you throw the kick, that way you're offline is the expression we use in MMA or martial arts. So same thing with the idea of saying circular. I would probably do the same thing with the kangaroo, making sure that I'd keep my hands up at his forearm.
Hold on. Jennifer, you're laughing too. I'm expecting him, you expect him to react like this, right?
Yes.
I'm expecting him to just say, all right, I'm going to hit him once in the head, kick his leg under, and whatever he's going to do. You're like so precise.
He's going to scientifically break down how to fight. Like Frank could literally teach a YouTube video. He could do a YouTube video on how to beat kangaroo in a fight.
But here's my question, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm serious about this because this is just crazy. So center line and all this bullshit. But so okay, how are you knowing what the kangaroo's movement would be. Like, you don't even care about its movement. You just say you're going to get around to its tail, correct?
Well, no, what I'm doing is saying I'm in front of it. I'm going to keep my hands up.
So you're going to distract the kangaroo.
I don't want it to be able to engage around my neck, tie clinch me. So if I know that it's going to tie clinch me and it's going to try to bring a plug clinch into me, I'm going to put my hands in that area, that line of attack. Okay, so now my hands are on that line of attack so that it can't get to there's something in between my neck and his hands. So framing, basically. So I have kind of a long frame, I guess, to block out. And then I would just constantly move into circular motions left and right, maybe a couple times left, a couple times right, but never staying in the middle, attacking its tail basically, to knock it off balance, until that once I knocked it off balance enough, I would try to then take it down basically. I'd put a knee in front of his body as I grabbed its paws and circle that way to drop it down to its back. And then I'd probably use a lot of knee to belly, because then once I drive the knee onto its stomach, he wouldn't be able to get his legs up in between me and him. I'd create a wedge. And then once that wedge is there, attack the neck, and put it out.
I want to see this. Like,
Now I want to see
anyone out there that wants to put this fight on.
Well, first we have to go ahead.
Awesome.
First, because you have to simulate your training. So we have to have somebody sit like on a garbage can, and we're going to say that's the tail. So they're sitting there, and they're going to keep trying to grab me, and I'm going to keep circling, hitting the can underneath of them until I can take them down.
So the only things that I have seen, I've seen the videos of the guy punching with the kangaroo, but what they end up doing is strictly punching the kangaroo. But what happens is they back up on their tail. Like, they are good. They really seem to only be good forwards and backwards. They're not, like, I guess, linear. They're not very good at pivoting. And I guess, how could they be? Right, it's a tail. The tail's not going to turn. So that is their only point. They're like a tripod, but they don't have side movement. But I'm laughing. I'm watching these guys punch at these things, but sometimes these kangaroos do get aggressive.
Well, I've seen also, too, it's kind of eerie. I didn't know this about, well, I've watched a couple of videos on it myself, because you saw the dog had ran out into the water.
Yeah.
And it shows that the kangaroos, because they can sit on their two legs, right?
Yeah.
So they can get height. They can be bipedal, whereas the dog obviously is limited by the fact that he has to have his four legs on the ground. So they purposely bring the dogs out. They lower the dog to the water because they know if they grab the dog by the head, they can drown it. I was like, so when he's sitting there in chest deep water, they're baiting you. They're trying to get you to come after him in their territory.
Right.
I don't think anybody that's fought a kangaroo, though, didn't scientifically break down the kangaroo and how it's going to fight. They're just probably guys that go in there and just box with it. Frank, really, as an opponent, he's like, if the kangaroo is my opponent, I'm going to break him down like any opponent that I've ever had.
But here's what's even crazier. Right? I'm asking Frank, and he's already watched a kangaroo and decided how he's going to break it down. And that's what's so interesting about. That's the mind of Mir.
The mind of Mir.
It's so interesting, because you remember the gorilla thing where everyone's like, oh, how many guys could 100 men beat a gorilla? But what's funny is people were trying to break that down. But the problem with that assessment is you'd have to know what every other guy's going to do. In other words, you've got to get 99 people to agree with whatever your methodology is to attack the gorilla.
There has to be a game plan. Of course.
Yeah.
Well, and a limit of cooperation, or a level of cooperation. Are these guys going to turn tail and run? 99 are going to bolt that way while you're the one, implementing the game plan. You're left there. That's happened to me before.
Oh, I know.
I'm the only one that went forward. I'm like, where'd everybody else go?
I got in a fight when I was younger, and there was 5 guys. I was with 5 guys. I was with 4 guys, so 5 of us, and 5 guys came out of a bar, and they were yelling at us. And a couple of the guys I'm with open their mouth, and they're mouthing off to the guys, like, just obnoxiously. And so the guys came and charged us. The guys that were yelling ran. So now I'm stuck with one of my friends, who was actually a correctional officer, so he didn't care. He likes to fight. But we get attacked, and one of the guys that attacked me, because I wrestled back then, so I did wrestling. So I took the guy to the ground, in just a headlock, and his friend came over and smashed me over the head with a bottle. But it just broke, so it didn't knock me out or anything like that. But
it cuts you usually, though.
Yeah, it did cut me pretty bad. I had stitches. Yeah, it's on my ear.
It's so surprising how much a beer bottle will slice you up.
I had no idea. And there's a lot of blood that comes out of your head, so you're thinking, you don't know what happened. All I know was I was afraid of the other guys would do anything. So the only thing I could do was, because I didn't want them coming up to me. And I didn't even know jiu-jitsu then or anything like that. And I grabbed the guy by the neck and I told his friends, I said, if you don't back the fuck off, I'm going to snap his neck. so I couldn't have, even now that I know jiu-jitsu, I'd see I wasn't in the right position, but he didn't know.
He didn't know that.
And I yelled it and the guy backed off, leave him alone, leave him alone. And he backed off. And then my friend was fighting the other guy. And then the cops ended up showing up anyway. It was in Chicago. So, they're only a block away usually, but well, not anymore, but they used to be.
Yeah.
But it was interesting, just the threat of them backing off. It was and I didn't know. That's the only thing I think of. I'm going to snap his neck. Now I would probably maybe know how to do it, but it was wrestling. They didn't teach you that in wrestling.
Well, it's funny. They do, but they're not. A lot of times, if you think about it, they show you what not to do to not hurt yourself, like chin down.
Right.
There's certain maneuvers we have where like, oh, you can't do a full Nelson, right? Because it puts too much pressure on the neck.
Okay.
So invertly, you kind of were being, like, that's how I looked at it. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So that's illegal. Why? Well, because there's too much pressure on the cervix of the neck, What happens if you put too much pressure on the neck? Well, it can break. I'm like, oh.
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why, like, okay, for example, you have a wrist and a half.
Yeah.
Wrestling maneuver, very common, one of the first pinning combinations you probably learn in wrestling.
Yeah.
You can't put both hands on the back of the head. So if I wrap both hands underneath your armpit and then I come back in like a full Nelson type motion, that's illegal in wrestling because of the amount of pressure you can, push on someone's neck. They don't want kids or, young people to get injured. So that's a phrase I use a lot when I train. I'm like, hey, if something's illegal in one of our combat sports, let's pay attention to that because it probably means it's very effective to use.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of maneuvers like not as nefarious as that. For example, like locking your hands in wrestling, right? You can't lock your hands. I can't hold you down in a collegiate folk style wrestling match and connect my hands around your waist and put them together without something, a part of your body, me holding a wrist or whatnot. And the reason why is because it's very difficult to get me off of you, and it slows the pace of the wrestling down. So then now in MMA, whenever I get behind somebody, I lock hands.
Of course. And when you don't lock hands, it's harder to take them down. Because I always see when they get up against the fence, they're like, he's almost got his hands locked. He's got his hands locked. Then you can pull out from underneath.
Yeah, it's almost a guarantee once the guy locks his hands.
Yeah.
Now he's completely engaged. As long as now he knows how to drive forward, drive you off your balance, drive you off your center of your base, then it's probably going to be a takedown.
Yeah.
It's so funny. That's like one of the first things, not the first, because you were doing stuff even when they were like infants, not walking, but that was like one of the first things Frank would create like games, but they were teaching them how to fight. They just didn't know
for
it.
the
like
kids.
That, for the kids.
Yeah.
And like that was always one of them when he would teach, grab your hands, clasp your hands. And then he'd like try to pull them apart and the kids would just do it. And they're not even realizing that it's for their future combat.
Your kids you're talking about.
Our kids, yeah.
Speaking of which, what did Bella just, the ESPN, do you want to brag?
Oh
do you
God, I was
brag?
crying. Yeah, I always want to brag about the kids.
We'll have to put some links about anybody at home is watching right now. ESPN came out and did a great write-up, which the write-up hasn't been released yet, but did the video feed, a documentary on Bella. And a little bit of me on there, too, and Mom and
it was
our
great,
family.
Because I
That's their amazing daughter for anyone new to this.
Yes,
She is
if you don't know.
unbelievable. And I'll put her against any one of my guy friends at 150 pounds.
I'd say if they don't train,
Yeah.
I'd even say 180 and
She's
below.
very strong.
She's very
So
strong.
it's
And
funny.
if they don't know any jiu-jitsu or wrestling, then
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
my bet's on Bella.
You could be an NFL level athlete if you don't know the concepts of grappling or not. There's parts of it that are very intuitive and there's parts that aren't. So there's a lot of aspects of it that people think, if you don't know, you just don't know what you don't know. I remember the first time, Pierre and his group, there's a group of guys that I would train with sometimes at a Lifetime. And Pierre, who's a restaurateur here in town, he, older guy. Now, look, I've watched Pierre. Now that he's training with Shot, he started training with a group of guys who are very fit, and then I even jumped in there at times too. But they work out; they do like 50 reps of everything before they lift heavy. It's it's a very intense workout. But I remember one day he came in. He had just started training jiu-jitsu at one of the gyms with a guy that I'm friends with, Hafi. And so Hafi's a small guy, but he's a world champion, black belt, legitimate. And Pierre couldn't wait till I walked in. His eyes were big. He's like, "Oh my God, I wouldn't train with." And he's trying to now tell the guys, because he was telling them the story as I walked up on him with, he's telling them how basically he got played with like a doll. And Pierre's a big, strong guy. You know, he's benching 400 pounds for reps. And he's like, he just played with me. It was unreal. And then like, he's like, now he's looking at me like comprehending. He's like, wow. And like, you're twice his size and know the same stuff. Like, wow. Like, you know, like he's running through the checklist in his head. Like, my God, how dangerous are you? And then he looks over, he goes, oh shit, your daughter, Bella. He goes, Bella could beat any girl in the gym right now, can't he? And he's looking around, and I like looked at him. I'm like, what? Any girl here? I'm like, homie. And I pointed out a guy that happened to be in the gym that day that's a black belt in Robert Drysdale. I'm like, besides that guy over there, there's no guy in here that's keeping him off her. Like, you know, like unless you run from her, she's going to snatch you up, grab you.
But here's a question I have. And then I do want you to bring up the ESPN thing, because it was absolutely amazing. A lot of times when people talk about that, whether or not, like in MMA, whether or not a female MMA fighter could be, you know, a guy, you know, and I guess a regular guy. But the difference with Bella, though, this is what I always take into account. A lot of times with jiu-jitsu, it's not always strength, it's more technique. And you might be able to muscle out of a technique if you're a stronger guy against a female. But Bella does weights. She's actually very strong. She's not your average, you know, it's not like she just knows jiu-jitsu. She knows both leverage and she has strength. Like,
which is an important aspect of fighting.
Yeah.
I hate when sometimes people, we don't do that so much now in mixed martial arts, but in the jiu-jitsu world, guys will do that. It's because they're trying to even the playing field. You have a guy like yourself who's an instructor.
Yeah.
And some guy like me walks in who knows just a little bit. And so that could be a pain in the ass to work with a guy who's big and strong, who knows a little bit, knows just enough on how to get out of moves and break them apart. So then how they fix that is they go, oh,
the weight.
You're using too much strength.
What?
Relax, calm down. Don't use so much strength. Use your technique. And it's like, no, man. Like that's one thing I did very early in my career, which is what helped me out, was that like, no, I want to leverage my strength to make it as, you know, to gain as much from it as I can.
Sure.
But when I train, I'm going to use my strength and I'm going to use my technique. And, you know, because otherwise you get tired. You don't realize that you're not training. Like you're like, okay, I'm always jogging and then we're going to go on the weekend. We're going to do a sprint.
Yeah.
It's like, this is different. You'll train, you'll fight like you train. So
sure.
you eliminate, there is times that you roll smooth and you play and you move around, but that can't be completely eliminated from your training repertoire, that you never you never turn it on when you're rolling. You go. Just like in wrestling practice, right? In wrestling, you learn a technique, you go easy, and then as you build up, you start adding your strength and your intensity to the technique.
And I think for us too, I think for us too with weightlifting, Frank and I were into it big, just like without fighting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that was just something that he's always been into. I've been lifting weights for over 30 years. So we
you're even more so. Our family goes and trains to train,
Yeah.
but Jennifer wasn't ever lifting to make sure she could choke somebody better.
Right.
She's lifting to be fit,
yeah.
You know, control her body movement through the air, mobility, and so it's funny to this day. I always laugh when people go on vacation. And they don't go to the gym when they're home, but now they're on vacation and there's a gym. I'm the opposite. Like you go to the gym when you're home, and when you're on vacation, you're like, man, maybe I'll just touch a few things here and there just to maintain. But you know, I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
You know, but people, I swear to God, it's always the most out of shape people want to go to the gym on vacation.
Yeah.
And so it's happened more than once. We're with a group of people, you know, family members, and we're walking in through the gym doors, and they're like, seeing who they're going to go with. Are they going to go off with me, or are they going to go off with my wife? You know. And I look at them like, I'm warning you now, man. You don't want to go with her. You stick with me. It's fun. We talk in between sets. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like there's no talking when she gets started, because it's like her rest set. Like mine is I sit there and talk about the set. We talk about what's going on later. There's a minimum 2 minutes rest.
Yeah, I was going to say you got 2 minute rest.
Because my philosophy is give the most you can during the set, and then
hypertrophy. Yeah.
Whereas Jennifer, like her rest is to do like, I one time worked out with her. She's like jumping. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, burpees. I'm like, that's our rest. We're gonna do burpees in between the leg press and then the box jumps, and then now burpees is rest. I'm like, that's not rest.
Just adding more cardio.
Yeah, she wants to get more intensity and cardio.
You know what's interesting though? I did learn this a couple of years ago about going on vacation, because I eat really well, like most of the time, but I read somewhere someone was saying, it was on something online. They said if you're not eating on vacation, if you're not enjoying your food, like just eat. First of all, you gotta give yourself a break and just you gotta enjoy it. That's part of the vacation. But
80-20, right?
Well, yeah, and when we go on vacations, his job is to eat right and work out. So when we go on vacation, we really just relax and eat everything, right?
Yeah.
Because most people that are, like you said, you eat good and you exercise. Most people though don't, they just work, right? So then they go on their, but your job is to stay healthy and to eat good and work out all the time. So he definitely doesn't want to work out when we're on vacation.
I think people have a mindset too. I like even a lot of bodybuilders, they don't really get this concept. They think if you're off for a week, sure, they're saying, "Oh, I lost all my muscle," or "I look like shit." It doesn't happen that fast. It's so hard to build muscle and also lose muscle. I mean, it's not hard to lose muscle, obviously, but it's not going to happen in a week. Mm-hmm. You just feel that way because you can't shrink a little because you're depending on what you
lose a little bit of a pump that you have.
You're going to lose the pump, right?
Yeah, it's like,
but you're not going to lose your strength in a week. Yeah.
In fact, actually, the last study I just saw was within a 30-day period, athletes had stopped completely for 30 days, did not do their thing, whether it was a shot putter, a guy who lifts weights, bench press. On average, they lost 5% of their strength. That was it. It was a 5%
over a month.
Over a 1 month period. People are freaking out over 3 days.
I think it depends on why people work out. Because like when we go on vacation, actually, I do go to the gym. But I go to the gym just because it just sets my day. It makes me feel good. It makes me sleep better at night. So I just like to go, even if it's.
But if you enjoy
small,
it,
I enjoy it, like something small.
I'm with her on that. I do like the way we work out. Like it's plus two, my body feels better because you're eating and drinking more than you normally have.
Yeah.
Indulging. If you don't, I notice it
you feel worse.
Your bowel movements don't work the same. For me, I'm just like, well, if I lift and move around, things work better.
Well, that is a fact. I mean, that's how your body does work because you are mobile now and you're moving your organs. Everything moves and what's funny though? I've dated girls that they're thin and they're like, I don't want to work out because I don't want to get big muscles and look like. And I'm like, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes, my sister is like that.
You're not gonna get like that. Do you know how hard it is to build muscle?
Well, if you do, you need to write it down and sell it because if you can take this and turn into like this massive walking like muscle
but they have
machine,
no clue.
They just don't know.
It's like, first of all, do you know how much you have to eat and the type of food you have to eat? Your macros got to be. They don't even get that concept.
No,
they think they're just gonna get. And they're gonna like, I don't want big arms. I'm
like, do you realize that a world-class bodybuilder, so now he's an athlete who's just concerned with hypertrophy, just putting muscle on.
Right.
The amount of dedication that fucker has, right? And they put on maybe 2 to 3 pounds a year.
A year.
You know what I mean? You're talking grams.
I mean, the first year they could put on, but right.
So it's like, okay, it's amazing. I remember one time, more annoying than that, there was a brother-in-law in a group of, we're sitting down, and to this day I'll still remember, and he's chubby, he's fat, and somebody was talking about working out or training, and I'm kind of listening, in and out, and he's like, oh yeah, no, I can't go to the gym. I'm like, what? And now I'm like, you can't go to the gym and do cardio? Like, well, no, everybody should do at least some cardio every day. Like there's and I was talking like, oh, you should walk, move around. The human body is meant to get so many, steps in a day, and he goes, no, you don't understand. I put muscle on if I even get on the treadmill.
Oh my God. I can't.
What?
I have to shut down.
I know, that's why I just like, I just look at people like, oh, okay. And then like, okay, I cannot lose another brain cell even listening to this shit.
You know what I was going to say too? You have to think about, so Bella's a senior. When we were doing all of our family vacations, we would always go to the gym because the kids were all in that, they're at that age. They want to work out with dad, right? They were like trying to we want to go to the gym. We want to work out. So vacations, we all would go to the gym. It was fun for the kids.
Do you think it's because they wanted to get away from you? Is that possible?
No, we're all. I was there too.
We want to work out with dad.
I was
Mom.
there too.
Yeah, doing your HIIT training.
No, Bella's hard to work with, but she gets that from me.
Yeah, Bella does those kind of workouts.
She does those kind of workouts like I do.
Oh, I know. If anyone gets a chance and goes online and looks, because you guys have posted things before of your kids working out and stuff. I mean, they're all your kids.
All of them, yeah.
It's our lifestyle.
It is a lifestyle, yeah. But the ESPN thing.
Okay, yes. If anybody can watch it, it was so great. It's 5 minutes, but they asked me for pictures of Bella and Frank. I mean, I have pictures of him, the one that they posted where she was 2. No, she was 4. Well, I was pregnant with Cage when we went to that. We were in like Oregon or Washington or Idaho or something like that on that big farm or whatever. But I was pregnant, so she had to been 3 or 4, and he's teaching her. It's a picture of her like throwing a punch. He's going like this, and oh God, I was like crying watching all that. Just it's emotional.
But is it amazing for you guys to have your daughter just doing what formerly was a men's sport? I mean, back in the obviously for a long period of time, and just to see the level of where she's been, I mean, you have to be so proud.
Well, and the part that I love about it is that it wasn't hard for me to convince my kids to be martial artists.
Yeah.
Because in my household, that's what we all are. We're martial artists. It's like knowing how to play the piano. Just because you teach that to your children doesn't mean that you want them to go join a band and go tour the nightlife,
Yeah.
It's a way of life for us. It's an identity. Then to go ahead and catapult that into now Bella can actually do it as a career, because there's very few sports where a woman can really stand on her own and make as much money, if not more money, than a male athlete. Because let's face it, people aren't. We have the Aces here in Vegas. Have they ever sold out an arena? I have ever yet to see.
Who do we have?
Yeah, world champs too, right? Women's basketball. It's subsidized by the men's basketball.
Yeah.
If they had to stand on their own, I don't know if there would be a women's basketball. The women's soccer team. I remember when they were having those arguments about we're not paid as much as the guys. I'm like, well, actually, if you go off a percentage of what you guys generate, which you're an entertainer,
you get paid more.
You get paid more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're making like 20%. Those guys are making I think 4 or something. So no, like it's not that way. So the cool part is that you think about it. Our highest paid athlete ever in MMA was Ronda Rousey. It was a woman.
Yeah,
she makes more money than I ever made showing up to a fight.
Yeah, the part too when Dana said. If Bella, it's very rare that you see the child of a athlete come on to do as well or better than the parent. So I was kind of like, oh my gosh, I thought about that. And then he said, if Bella comes into the UFC and wins a championship and does what we all believe she's going to do, he goes, she may be the greatest female. I know I'll even start getting choked.
Well, it is difficult because
I can't even say. Yeah, she'll be the greatest female. I just started crying. I was just like, to be able to be her parent and watch everything that obviously Frank has gone through and built in his name, and then to see Bella just always, even from a little girl, wanting this, and being able to share that with her and be right by her side, as she's getting ready to go on this journey. I don't even know. I mean, any parent. I don't even know how to describe it. They would
because I know the statistics of it being one of the rules of power by Robert Greene, 48 Laws of Power. They actually have that to where he says, don't fall into greatness. He tells you, don't, whether you're following another guy, his position, or the guy who came before you, don't chase down greatness because you're only going to fall short. Talking about then, he used that to catapult into talking about children of greats. Don't follow greatness. Don't do what your dad did. Don't do what your mom did. If she was known for it and she was great, because you're going to be compared to, it's a very hard life to follow because you're always going to be the second best. You're going to be in the shadow of. It's very rare for somebody to follow their parents who are a successful aspect of that genre, of that sport, or whatever industry that they may be a part of, and not only be good at it, but actually excel maybe better than what they did, which I think Bella's going to blow everything out of the water.
And that's already happened to her. Remember, people have asked her it must have been easy, having your Frank as your dad, but she's like, no, because people just expect her to be as good as him. Right? Her first fights are all, you should be submitting people and ripping their arms off. And
no matter what she does, right?
Yeah.
She sits there and arm bars the girl.
Yeah.
Did not hurt her The girl tapped it. She goes, your father would have broke it. I'm like,
Her last
actually,
fight.
no.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have because the girl was tapping. I've never, you know what I mean? Like, no, if someone's tapping, I stop.
Oh yeah,
applying pressure.
except for my neck. But
Yeah. I forgot about that. That did just happen to her last fight. She's like, we're celebrating.
Yeah.
She's so happy. She's 4-0 now.
Yeah.
And then of course somebody on the stupid internet, which I keep telling her stop looking, but somebody
Stop sharing.
Who cares? Somebody said, oh well, you're almost as good as your dad. Your dad would have actually broke it. It's like, what?
This is the
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
This is the other reason the odds of her being so successful are even that we're against her, even on top of it with this specific sport of MMA, because so many people, like you guys. You did MMA to make a living and provide for your family. It was, yes, doing something you love, but you're like, oh, okay, I can go into this because I like this. She doesn't have to do this. And what's funny is, it's not even like you guys told her to do it.
No,
She
contrary.
wanted
The
to do
opposite.
this, which is even more amazing because I listen to so many fighters. They're like, yeah, look, if my kid wants to go into it, that's fine. I would support them, but I wouldn't recommend it. And they're like, because they know what it's like.
There was some idiot one
It's a
time
hard
it
way
pissed
to-
me off, and now I'm going to let him know that I actually read it. Somebody wrote on there, like, I can't believe Mir, I thought higher of him, that, that he would want his kids that, like, as hard as that lifestyle is to be a fighter, that he pushes kids that way. I'm like, oh, if I could find you right now, I'd strangle the shit out of you. You're like, you're not paying attention. Like, I did everything I could to talk Bella out of being a professional. Again, being a musician is a good thing, right? We can all sit there and go, hey, learning how to play piano, guitar, musical instrument, it's good for the brain, reading music. There's all these things that, that's why a lot of people have their kids learn musical instruments when they're younger in school, because there's a lot of trade-offs. There's a lot of benefit to that. That's how I am with martial arts. It's a way of life. It's problem-solving skills in practice. How do I solve problems, right? That's what martial arts does. And it's a physical form of it. So it's like there's so many things that come from benefit of following that lifestyle. But if you sit there and, you had your kid take guitar lessons after school, and then he tells you, I'm jumping into a band, I'm going to go ahead and quit school. Like, no!
Be a rock star.
Yeah, I'm going to be a rock star. Like, okay, for every one of those guys that thinks he's going to make it, how many don't? For every one of those fighters that we see that have made it, how many that don't?
Yeah.
So no.
But even having your kid go and be a rock star, they're saying that we asked our kid to go and get punched in the face for a living. It's a hard way to earn a living. You're not pushing your kid into that. I don't even know.
Bill has to cut weight, and I hate that. That's one aspect of our sport that I hate.
Kind of dangerous, isn't it? It's bad for the organs, right?
Man, it just sucks. And then being part of that, it's very hard. Like, I can push through a lot of things, but I feel like a hypocrite when I push her hard there.
Yeah.
Because then I'm in the coaching position, and that's my role.
Yeah.
But I never cut weight to the limit, the extreme that she has to. And so I hate it. One of the last times she cut weight, the fight before last, I believe, when she was in Tulsa, I actually left the room for a minute because we had a doctor with us helping us, Dr. Bradley, and he was in the room, and he had wrestled, and he's a fighter, and and he's a physician. So who better to have help us with this weight cut? I actually walked out of the room and started crying. I had to call Jennifer, like, I don't want to do this shit no more. We're gonna have somebody here, because pushing her, Bella was done. She was so depleted, and here her percentage of her body weight, she's trying to make it, and she's suffering. And I'm telling her that she, like, suck it up, I had to fit that role for that moment. And as soon as I stepped out of the door, I broke down. Like, I hate this shit.
Well, she's so lean to begin with. When she first went to Iowa, and when she had to, they did all of her testing
Hydration
for the NCAA. They literally told her, your body fat percentage, you cannot lose anymore. Like, you won't even be eligible. Like, she's so lean.
Yeah.
Well, in college wrestling, they do a hydration test. For those at home that don't know. And basically, they look at your lean mass, your body fat, and go, hey, you could safely wrestle at this weight. If you were to show up any lighter than this, it would be unsafe for you to do so. So you can show up that light. We're not going to allow you to wrestle at that weight class. So there's no motivation.
What did she wrestle at? What weight was she?
145.
And in the
She walks around about
MMA?
160, like 150.
Well, she's tried to make 135 a couple times. And I'm screaming in the corner, guys, she's not a 35
She's got
pounder.
so much muscle.
And then we're having this argument when she's 17, 18, 19 years old. I'm like, guys, there's no way. When she's 25, you're telling me that she can't make it at 17 and struggles with it then. And it's like a I mean, if they tell you to eat 10 almonds, Bella follows the diet to the T.
Oh, yeah,
she hits every minute of cardio she's supposed to hit. She doesn't eat 1 calorie more than she should. So I'm like, Bella, you're struggling now.
Yeah.
What are we going to do in 5 years? Like, let's call it what it is. You're a 45-pounder.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
And then the thing about weight cutting that can be dangerous. You cut a lot of weight, and yes, you rehydrate the next day or right after the weight cut, but it's your brain, though. Your brain needs fluid. It needs the water. And when you're so dehydrated, that's why they say sometimes when they had a tough weight cut, some of those guys get knocked out because your brain, but that's what's dangerous.
Well, your brain is 85% water, give or take a percentage or two. And so it's one of the first organs that's affected by dehydration, and it's one of the last organs to rehydrate.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so that's why actually in boxing, when they're having more deaths in boxing, it's because they were doing same-day weigh-ins. Now, if you watch, they don't ever do that. In the combat sports, we never do same-day weigh-ins.
They do.
They do. And in wrestling, you still collide and smack heads.
Yeah,
Jiu-jitsu's even worse. Well, and the reason why they're trying to do that is they try to incentivize it. Go, hey, if I give you 24 hours to rehydrate, you're probably going to go ahead and take a chance at cutting down and think you can make it. But if I make it to where within 2 hours after you make weight, you got to go compete, they're thinking that these athletes are not going to try to do it now. Well, they're going to see that, and that's too hard. I'm like, have you never hung out with a person who does this for a living? Like the kind of mindset they have?
Yeah.
They're absolutely still going to try to push themselves to the limit and hurt themselves.
Well, they think they're going to try to just stick to their actual weight, but they don't.
They think they're going to, and they're like,
they don't. I mean,
this ain't working out the way you think it's going to work out.
Well, I think because athletes, they're competitive. That right? Someone that's an athlete, they love to compete. So anything that they think is going to give them an edge, they're going to do it.
But I think they also do it, the weight cut, because they feel they're not big enough at the weight that they're walking around at, because people are even bigger than them. I mean, you would know better than me.
It's the neighbor kind of mindset. What's my neighbor doing? What's my neighbor doing? So people think the other guy is going to be big and strong. Hell, I think that's the way with drugs and everything other aspect of our sports that people worry about and PEDs and whatnot. It's like,
they think your opponent.
You think
your opponent's cutting weight.
Well, and also too, like in anything what Jennifer's saying as far as gaining an advantage, it's not so much that I want the advantage. It's you think the other guy's gonna have it. Yeah. So like, well, if I'm not doing it, he's doing it. He's gonna go ahead and So there's a lot of that in our sport where as athletes we do things because we're afraid that everybody else is.
Right.
It's like standing up at the at a concert drives me insane. I hate it. I'm like, hey guys, you got a good view? Yeah, sit the fuck down, right? You can see some asshole in front of me stands up. Now I have to stand up, and we have the same view now that we had before, except for now we're all standing.
So now we're standing.
Like, could you just sit the fuck down? You know what I mean? Like, but that mindset of just like, well,
that is such a good analogy.
We all have to. So that's what people do as athletes. Right. It's like, well, like. If I don't take that PED, or if I don't do that, or if I don't take that, if I don't, cut that corner or try to get that advantage, or if I don't sit there and do that new procedure that they're talking about now at the PI, the latest cutting, the other guy is. And it's like, well, maybe not.
It's like take it all off the table or let them all do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they have to get rid of, because that is the thing. Especially, and it starts at such a young age. Remember the kids, when they all got into wrestling, every kid, as soon as they got into wrestling, it's almost like they couldn't wait for the weight cut part. Like that was the
Really?
That was part of being a wrestler, right?
Yeah.
And Frank's like, you're not cutting weight.
Yeah.
You're not cutting weight in high school.
They got so bad that
let them cut weight.
Cage lied to me. My Cage is so competitive that he dropped 30 pounds and wrestled and hid it from me. He was wearing. In hindsight, I should have paid more attention, but he was always wearing sweatshirts in the house. And then finally, in one of the competitions, I'm like, wait a minute, what weight are we at right now? Hold on a second. You're making 180 something? But we were just 210 during off season. Like, why? You're cutting weight?
This story is when you always say you're not a king in your own kingdom. Here, it's Frank Mir. That's your dad.
Yeah.
Like Cage, you think that
I might know a thing or
listen.
two.
Yeah, if dad's telling you.
Yeah.
But because
he was cutting 30 pounds in high school?
His junior year. He did that one year. We were so mad.
And that's when you're growing.
Yes.
So bad.
Thank you. That's
a little bit of weight cutting is not bad, and I get it. There is a little bit of a badge of honor to suffer, my kids' life is naturally pretty good. They're not getting, jumped for their milk money. So sports for me has always been a way to make them suffer a little bit, so that way the brain is accustomed to it. Because, you either suffer now or suffer later type mindset when it comes to that. So my kids they're not afraid of suffering. They understand it's part of life. But it's through sports that I was able to administer that. And so sometimes they just take it further. That's, again, I tell my kids as coaches that help me out, like, guys, don't challenge them, because they're looking to go ahead. Like, it's like in my family, it's like, who can be more psychotic and crazy and suffer worse and put themselves in, it's like a competition. I swear to God. Like, and I'm like, is this really how you guys view me? But the kids are just like, nah. I'm like, that's just insane.
It's not just them though. I remember when the kids all got into wrestling, it was just like, I think kids think that like the cutting weight is part of the, like it's kind of maybe a wrestling badge.
I did it, but it was like back when I went to high school, it was like 5 pounds. It was like nothing.
Yeah.
And that's water.
That's
barely
where
anything.
I've always been at.
Yeah.
In high
cut 10
school,
pounds here and
they
there.
should not
I think
be
I wrestled
cutting.
at 105, and
Really?
then the second year, like 112. Yeah. So I was like tiny.
A little.
But
I don't think I weighed that.
your leg doesn't even weigh that.
No.
No,
In
it's-
6th grade, I went to a wrestling tournament. I weighed 186.
In lean.
Yeah, in 8th grade, I already weighed 200 pounds.
In 8th grade?
Yeah.
Were you like the biggest kid in your class?
Yes, but also too, like, it was shaped differently, because I remember I would go to wrestling tournaments and you'd see all the other kids that weighed 200 pounds, and they're usually about a foot shorter than me and a foot wider. So I was one that looked weird, because it's like, wait a minute, you have abs and you're.
That's why when people in Bella, with Bella too, remember they said, I don't know if it was her first or second fight, I don't remember, but they said, oh, she's so buff, Mir has her on steroids. I'm like, do you see our family? Like, I'm the smallest one, but I mean, they're massive.
Yeah.
He was 200 pounds in 8th grade. Like, they're all big. They were big babies.
It's funny, you
Even.
talk about competition, but we had this one wrestling match, and it was an exhibition, so you would fight 3 people in the same day.
round robin.
Yeah, and so 2 of the guys I actually ended up winning it, because 2 guys from my school, there was another guy we had to wrestle, and he was physically challenged, we'll say. He was kind of, I don't really know what the precise term was, but he had something physical that, I probably can't even say anymore, but these days, but something, he wasn't 100% there. And the 2 other wrestlers from my school, they felt bad, so they like let him win. And I'm like, yeah, but I couldn't do that because I'm so competitive. I'm like, no one will know and beat him later.
Did you fuck up the special needs kid?
Yeah, it was the special needs. And I had to. So like he tapped and I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Because I wanted to win so bad. Well, because the flip side is I don't want to lose.
And honestly, he probably he wanted you to go.
Yeah.
He probably is used to people doing.
Yeah. I later I felt like, because I'll watch things now where you'll see online you let someone win. I'm like, oh my God, that's so nice. That's what I would do. But that's not what I did at the time. But it wasn't about that guy. I was more competitive against beating the other guys from my school to prove something. That's all it was, Cause
you guys see that one commercial where they're letting the football player like go and score a touchdown, and he's running, and everybody, like, the other team's allowing him to do it, and there's that one guy that comes and just rats him. Oh! What are you doing?
And he's like, oh.
There's Mike.
That's great, though. That's so funny. That is funny, though.
You have to tell your proud Ronan moment. Remember with the kids, because all the kids, no one's keeping a second place medal. Like even when they were little, they were.
How you compete and stuff.
But so remember with Ronan.
So one time at a wrestling tournament,
yeah,
and it's one of Ronan's firsts.
He was like six.
And so he ended up getting 4th place.
Their other kid.
Right?
Our
Out of
baby.
4 kids. So, all right.
And
so
how old is he?
He's 6.
Okay.
Oh, at the time. I thought you meant now. 16
No,
now.
he's not
6 at the
6
time.
now, yeah.
No, he's not.
Sorry,
6
I
now.
misheard.
Look at the way Frank says it. He's 6.
So his Nana, though, we're all sitting there at the tournament, we're getting ready to leave.
Yeah.
And they're announcing, don't forget, folks, there is still ribbons for 4th place. And so then she goes, wait a minute, Ronan got 4th? And I'm like, out of 3 other kids. Like now I'm looking at her and I'm about to say, I'm like, no, I won't say nothing because now she's already said something and like, it's like somebody pulling out the puppy and I'm like, I'm not gonna be the bad guy.
Yeah.
So she runs off to go get this ribbon. She tries to hand it to Ronan. And Ronan's like looking at it. He grabs it. He's like, I don't want it. And she's like, well, Ronan, I mean, come on. No, that's not. She wants him to take a picture with it. He won't take a picture with it. Finally, he walks off and throws it in the garbage can. And then Nana, because she's normal, can't really understand that. And I'm like looking at him like, oh, I love you, kid. That is mine.
And he's 6.
He's
He
6
grabbed
years
it.
old.
He
So he had
literally grabbed it
yeah.
and
Well,
walked over and threw it in the
Now
garbage.
look, 4th place out of 200 people or somewhere you put a great
Sure.
heroic effort. I'm not saying that
Right.
that anything other than first is losing. No,
Right.
but 4th place out of 4 kids, I get why he was like, why am I got dead last. I lost, it was a round robin. He lost both matches. Why is he gonna, you're not going to wear. That's basically at that point. It was a participation award.
Yeah,
and
I'm not into that.
and he was not into it either. And he developed that at 6 years of age. I didn't have to stand there and intervene.
I will put that special needs kids down if I have to do it.
Ronan, oh my gosh. And Ronan's like, he's the biggest out of the 3.
Yeah, now he is.
Ronan's the
See-
biggest out of the 3. He's the baby too.
He's like closing in on me now.
How tall is he?
Well, the last time we checked, he
6'1"?
was 6'1", but he's like Frank's 6'3", and they're like side.
Well,
I mean,
6'3" before my life. Gravity of life.
Well,
What does he want to do?
6'2". Played football.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
Yeah, he does really well at it because it's a good his mindset. He's great under pressure.
So did 2 of your kids play football, or
Okay,
All of them
3
play
of them.
football.
All 3 of them
Bella-
played
Yeah,
football?
Bella played football at Bishop Gorman.
Played club ball. It was fun to watch because I remember we have videotapes. We'll show you afterward where Bella's the tailback. Cage is the fullback on the football team.
I love
there's
the two of them.
and then when they played on defense, he was the weak side linebacker. She was strong side linebacker.
awesome.
There is a lesson here for like any parent out there that's got young children, and because I know a lot of people on the outside, but I know you guys, but I know so many people in the outside would just be, well, of course it's Frank Mear's kid,
And Jennifer.
Yeah, and Jennifer. You know what I'm saying, though. You know what I'm saying, though.
Yes, of course.
And they're just
Of
saying,
course they're good.
Yeah, of course they're going to be good. Of course they're going to do this. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's really important for parents to let their kids learn whatever it is, like whatever skill set they want to learn or hobby or whatever, and really allow them to flourish with that, because so many times that's what you guys were there to provide the assistance and there to provide the expertise, but
Also, too, I showed them what to put their energy towards. First of all, my kids all understand now, so I'm not letting anything out that they don't realize that Dad's very manipulative. I manipulated my children. I want to get you to do things a certain way. I'm going to manipulate you to where you think it's your idea that you did it. So how I manipulated my children is I controlled what they coveted, who they admired. So that way, because if you think about it, if your kid at home right now is admiring some rap star that, that just got busted for drugs and he's got hookers, and he's making poor decisions in life because that's what he wants to be like, well, whose fault is that? You allowed that to be his hero. So I chose my kids as heroes because I showed them what I thought was cool. Hey, you see this guy, this math person, this chess person, this physician, this, this individual. And so that was one form of manipulation. Then the next was what I told them what I would covet, what I would think that I would admire. I admired their character and their ability to control their mind, because that's something within their control, their power. How strong you are, how smart you are, those are things that are pretty much given at birth.
yeah, they probably got some of your genetics, I'm sure. Both.
So, you can turn the dial a little bit on that, but there's not a whole lot you can do about that. How you conduct yourself, how you control your mind, that is within your control. So, that being said, one time my kids were practicing. It was my 2 young, it was Cage and Ronan. And they had joined this team that's a nationally ranked team. And now they're doing their first practice. So they have the 12U, 10U, 12U, 14U teams all training together, right? So you have all 3 age groups. It's towards the end of practice, and their coach at the time comes from a Navy SEAL background, so a lot of mental toughness, He's having them do burpees. Now, we're all sitting out there as parents. We're sitting in our chairs, and my wife is talking to the other parents, and I'm kind of sitting there, and I more or less don't talk to. I'm staring at the field, and they're doing burpees. About 20.
Oh, Jennifer's skills.
Right, they're starting to drop off, kid after kid after kid. There's about 80 kids out there. About halfway through, kids are crying. Kids are quitting, and only about half the kids are still going. And my two are still part of that, and they're moving. And finally, I'm like, Jen, do you see what's happening? So I get up, and then I can see Dad stand up, and I'm like proud. And so they were the last two kids standing. And that was a choice. There was no part of that made it to where that because they were more fit, stronger. Ronan wasn't even in the highest age group. He was one of the
little guy.
He was in the 10U team, and there was 14U team kids that he beat. Well, the only other kid he didn't beat was Cage.
But he was even little for so long. Ronan was little.
But that mindset of so then when they came, I wasn't proud about how fast they ran. I wasn't proud about how far they threw the ball. I was so proud. I can't believe you guys did that. I brag even right now. They can hear this. I'm bragging about the fact that you made a choice that you weren't going to quit, and it wasn't because it was physically incapable of not doing so. It's doing a burpee. Move your feet, fall down, stand back up.
Mental toughness.
Mental toughness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? And so because they see Dad was proud of that, I coveted that. That's what helped motivate my kids to want to be good at that.
I feel like that, and then I feel like what we'd never pushed it on, like so many parents, all the sports the kids have done, the parents are pushing them and pushing them. We never pushed them to do any sport. We never pushed them to do it. And then two, we always from the time they were little, everything
we weren't trying to live
fun.
through our kids either.
No, everything was fun, right? Like we made everything fun. Working out was fun.
Right.
Going to the gym was fun. It wasn't like you will go to the gym, you will get your chores done. We're going right now. You're gonna work out. You're gonna do this. We always tried to make it fun, like it was something fun, like to do as a family. So the kids were like, we want to go to the gym. We want to lift weights, or we want to go jujitsu.
And here, watch, my kids played baseball first. I really tried to push baseball on them because I think baseball is a great sport for people to play. Because think about it. You have the individual self-reliance upon yourself that you walk up in front of everybody to the base. Right? You're at home plate, everybody's watching, you're under pressure, and now it's just you, and you have to go out there and perform. Yeah. You have to control your own mind, not freak out. That teaches such great self-reliance, mental toughness, focus, concentration, how to force yourself into the flow state. So many things about that I love that I think carry over to the real world, that MMA encompasses almost all that. But even better than MMA and wrestling is that it actually has now a team aspect, because then when they blow the whistle and you go on defense, you have to work with 8 other guys, right? You're playing defense, you're cooperating, social aspects that fighting doesn't have, that is a shortcoming of fighting. So again, the difference between my kids and other people sometimes that I feel didn't do it as well is that that's what they hear Dad saying. Hey, you guys, this is awesome. You're going up at the plate, you're doing this. When you play defense, you play baseball. Now, little Johnny, his dad, who's 5'8" and weighs 180 pounds, 200 pounds and is 30% body fat with a 12-inch vertical. He's like, son, if we do this, you're going to play in college, and then you're going to go to the pros. That's what his parents are telling him. Why would you do that to your child? Like, I never did that to my kids. Like, you're not going to be pros at this. Who gives a shit? This is a tool to make you better, stronger, to cultivate who you are, to make you a better version of yourself. So I think that's another reason why we did so well, is that we were realistic about what our kids did.
We did so well. I'm just laughing. It's like
we're breeding champions.
We have the best kids ever. They are such good.
We have to call it the Mir training protocol. If you want your children to turn out like Bella, Cage, Ronan.
But you know what? Your kids are so respectful. They're so nice. I remember when I first met them.
Control their character.
But they're amazing. Like, they're just really nice kids. And they don't have to be, because they could fight.
Well, no, I mean,
they have to.
and again,
well,
they
have to be ready.
Think about it. If we go out and eat right now, and we're with somebody that comes in the group, and I see them treat the waiter like an asshole.
Oh my God.
You don't have to be respectful to the waiter. You're right. You can treat him like shit. He's here. You're at somebody's work. You can take advantage of them and be a dick. But I think you're an asshole now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like you. Like, who likes that person?
Right.
Because you had the power to, like, no one's forcing you to be nice. It's your choice. So now I get to really judge who you are, because that's within your power. That's what I always told my children. Your character, how you conduct yourself is, I completely judge you off of that.
You know what's crazy? So at my show, when I do the show, the people come in to get seated, And the guy that does the seating, the host that's there, he'll come up afterward, right before the show starts, he'll come up and give me a heads up of what's going on in the crowd. And so, just a quick,
give an example. That's kind of curious.
So, I pick on everybody in the audience.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, bad. And so, but sometimes when he's seating them, I want to know, contrary to my earlier days in wrestling, I don't really want to pick on someone that has special needs. And sometimes someone's a little off, and he'll let me know. Now that I have the information, it's fine. I just kind of assess what it is, because I don't treat anyone differently based upon how they are, whether it's physical or mental. I will be respectful of it, though. So I try to assess what's going on, but at least with the heads up, it kind of helps me out a little bit. But a lot of times they'll tell me someone's like, he'll go, God, that guy's such an asshole. And I'm like, oh, what did he do? And they're like, I don't know. He's just really rude when when we were seating him. I'm like, okay, but.
Because you avoid that, because have you had in the past?
Oh, I don't mind the asshole. That's fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, you like to poke the bear.
Yeah.
Have you had any issues where guys run up on stage and want to fight you?
No. But I was going to tell you, more like at the restaurant, some people are assholes to the help, but they're not to me. They're very nice during the show.
Like that.
But why would you be like that? Like, you're not completely an asshole because you'd be rude to me, but they're not. They just treat the help like shit.
Bully.
Yeah,
yes,
it's a bully mentality. You're right.
Jennifer being a Northern California girl, right? So she has family in Stockton. So I remember when the Diaz brothers first got together, she'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's Stockton guys. Yeah, and she,
what up?
Now, if people probably from the outside watch how Nate and Nick are, they'd be like, "Oh, Frank, you probably wouldn't be friends with him because I'm more soft spoken." More, and those guys, they'll tell you how they feel.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
They're soft spoken when they're telling you, though.
But the thing I respect about them to this day, and I like them a lot, is that they are genuine to everybody. If they're gonna treat you like an asshole, they'll treat Lorenzo, Dana, they'll tell anybody. I hate when people are selective.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. You were nice to me because there was a consequence, but you're not nice to that person. So you're not a nice person. You're only nice as the consequences permit you to be.
Because the fear of it. Right. Isn't that horrible, though?
Horrible.
Why would you treat people poor? What's in you that makes you feel that you have to bully someone else?
Insecurity.
Because you think you get away with it. And that's when I get mad at people. Like, guys, I have no respect for that.
Yeah.
If that was the case, if I got to treat everybody like shit that I could get away with.
Yeah.
Who would I treat nicely? You know what I mean? I would just be an asshole because what are you going to do? Fight me? Beat me up? Pull out a gun? Come on, buddy.
Right.
But because it's
please do.
So wait a minute. So you're only nice to the people that you get away with? You're an asshole. I really have no respect for that.
Or you're only nice to the people that are stronger than you, tougher than you.
Yeah, so you're a bully, like you said, yeah.
But anybody that they're choosing to have more power over.
Well, and the reason why that also still scares me, it's wait a minute. So you're respectful to me right now. But what if there's a day where, and there are days that I'm not strong. There are days where I'm hurt, where I'm, wait a minute. So wait a minute, you're only respectful because you're scared of me, not because you respect me. I don't like you because now I'm only as long as I'm strong are you going to treat me well. The minute you think you can get away with it, you're going to fuck me over.
So I had, go ahead, Jennifer.
No, you finish what you were saying.
No, I had an incident. It was just this weekend. I was going to a friend's. They have the after party at a wedding, and this will give you an idea of how fragile our minds are and how we can snap where we don't think we're going to. Because I'm pretty well together. I try to keep pretty even keel, but I'm there, and I had to get up to the penthouse, but there was no one to assist getting up there. You need a key card to get it in there. So I'm like, well, where's the security guy? They're like, I don't know. They're usually there. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll wait a little bit, but they didn't show up. So I went to the front desk. So I go to the front desk, and mind you, this is after my show. I hadn't eaten yet. My blood sugar's dropping, and I'm getting a little cranky. Yeah, it was getting bad. So I go to the front desk, and I said, is there someone that could let us in the penthouse or me? There's, I have to get up there. The story I just told you. They're like, oh, well, you have to go around the corner there. There's a security podium. You can ask them, and they'll walk you up. I'm like, all right. And if you ever, and I'm walking across it takes forever to get from one spot to another. I go to the security podium. Nobody's there. So I see a couple people that work there that look like they're kind of security, but you never know anymore. They got the some band badges on and whatever. So I said to them, I'm looking for someone to get me up there. And they're like, oh, I don't know. Where's the security supposed to? They're usually over here. And I'm like, I haven't seen them in like 10 minutes. I go, they'll be coming quick if I don't, this. So now I'm starting to get angry, but I'm not treating them poorly at all. I'm still being very polite to them because I know what their job position is. It's fine. So then I go back towards the front desk, and there's two guys in blue jackets. And apparently they're security, but you can't really tell, they're just blue jackets. So I walked up and I said, hey, could you let me in? There's, I have to get up there. And they're like, yeah. So the guy walks me over there, and I say to the guy, he does the pass key card for the elevator, but he doesn't do it for the inside. I said, well, you also have to do the inside so I could get to the third floor. Yeah. Because you have to do 2 key cards. And he just walks away without doing the inside. So I'm like, all right, I guess it's done. Maybe he knows more than I know. I get in there, door shuts, you can't go anywhere. I'm like, oh, this asshole. I just said, the door opens, I go out, he's gone. He's not even there anymore. I'm like, where did he go? And I see these 2 guys at the counter, the guest services thing that are right there. And I said, then they saw me. I waited. This took me a half an hour, by the way. 30 minutes I'm sitting there going through this. And I said, where'd the guy go? I told him I couldn't, get up there and so on and so forth. They're like, I don't know. I go back to the front desk and I'm like, they've got to make a key of some sort. This is getting out of control, right? I go to the front desk and the manager comes up and I go, yeah, I literally go, yeah, I was trying to get up. Apparently that guy's an idiot. And he goes, yeah, because I lost it. And the guy goes, sir, we don't talk that way about idiots. And I go, idiots? No. And I go, I'm just saying, I literally was up there. And he told me, and he's like, well, you're going to have to. And then I'm remembering how people treat the people at my place. But I didn't treat the guy directly that way. It was about that guy,
Well, I would ask,
yeah.
So what term would you like to use for somebody that is inadequate at their position?
Yeah. And I wasn't yelling or anything. And he goes, well, that's the guy that has the key. Get up. And he goes, I will talk to him. I'll talk to him. I'm sorry that happened. And I go, don't worry about it. I'll talk to him. It's fine. And he goes, well, I don't want you. And I go, it's fine. Don't worry. And I walked up and I go, sir, as I explained to him, and I just calmed down, for a second. And the guy was really nice. I joked around with him. I go, I asked you to hit but I had to throw in there because I'm petty too. I go, I told you to hit both. And he goes, oh, I didn't hear you. I go, apparently, but everything was fine. But my point was, there's a lot of people that will act that way and it'll just escalate. Because I felt my blood sugar was dropping. I didn't want to become that person, especially, Well,
on the flip side, I understand why people get frustrated. I hate that we have a culture of it ain't my problem.
Well, that's what it was.
Really, yeah. And there's so many people, it's like, guys.
Yeah.
No, like that mentality of like, well, it ain't my problem. Like, it's like, well, it actually kind of is. Like when you came and clocked in today, you know what I mean? Like this is part of your job description. And like, I'm trying to work with you here. And if you're not going to meet me halfway, well, I don't have to even meet you halfway. You know what I mean? Like I can go ahead and, be a dick about this and, make your life really miserable.
Do you people do you still have issues with people, or not really, probably because your size, even if they don't know you, or people are still disrespectful?
I'll have guys that still kamikaze a little bit because they feel like, well, because losing to me,
look at Jennifer's face.
It's kind of like almost like a badge of honor still.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, I wasn't expected to win. So it kind of takes winning off the table. So then losing.
I'm asking the wrong person. Jennifer, do people still try to?
Oh, yeah.
Are they still rude to him?
But what helps me out is that I'm my ability to speak to people.
Yeah, you are a great conversation.
Yeah, so that I could kind of talk them down, and then if they want to continue to be, I'll kind of, hey, let me give you a taste of how stupid I'm going to make you feel, and then if you want to come back in line, I want you to just do the right thing. Yeah. It's path of least resistance.
Yeah.
And he's always so calm though. So I mean, even like. I'm the one that goes crazy. Like I'm the one, that story right there, it would have escalated. I would have called them all idiots. Like they would have all been idiots and they'd get me up where I need to be. You have like 2 seconds or I'm going to call the next idiot.
Jennifer, you are making me laugh so bad. Jennifer's at my show. They're with Frank and they're with their friends. And this one guy, completely obnoxious, yelling shit from the back of the room. And he's yelling stuff. Remember that guy?
Oh,
and he's yelling stuff. And then he's yelling stuff towards Frank. And Jennifer goes, Jennifer goes, hey, if you could get through my daughter Bella, then come and talk
about my husband.
Then you could talk about my husband.
Yes.
It was the funniest thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny that Frank didn't even initiate. Frank doesn't give
He
a
never
shit.
initiated.
No, he doesn't care. He's just
never.
sitting there
He
waiting
just
for
is
something to
calm.
happen.
He laughed at the guy. He truly does not
laughed.
care.
And Jennifer, she's just, it
I'm
was
like
so funny.
Mama Tiger though, so I'm like, because
She literally stand up and she goes,
did.
if you can get through my daughter, you can get to Frank.
Yeah, then you can worry about my husband's shortcomings, but sit
was
down,
so
son.
funny.
'Cause you need to get through Ronan, Cage, or Billa, and then you could talk about Frank. I was so pissed. But Frank still was like, oh, God,
Well, I
don't
think
say
Frank's just waiting
anything.
for something to escalate. He figures if he's quiet, okay, bring it up.
Because, honestly, that stuff doesn't even, it doesn't faze him.
Yeah.
It made me, I was pissed
You're
off.
hilarious, though.
I was-
You do have a little mouth on you. She is
Oh,
actually,
yes, I do.
She's
Because
actually quite funny.
Then I'll talk her through it, and I'll be like, babe, now look at this person. He hates his job. He hates his wife. He doesn't like his kids. He doesn't see them. He's failed at that. This is all the money he makes. This is what he wanted to do in life, and that's what he doesn't do. And he's miserable. You know what I mean? Like, give him his distraction of being an asshole right now.
Jennifer goes, I don't care.
You know what I mean?
I don't care.
It's like you won just by like laughing at them. You know what I mean? It's like, all right.
No, it's only like obviously like my husband, and then like when they say stuff about my kids.
Yeah.
Or,
It's not you even,
I don't
really.
even
You
know.
don't care.
I don't care what you say about
Yeah.
me, but I'm like, and especially after the year that Frank's had, I know he doesn't care, but I cared when he
Yeah.
said that. The year that he's had and everything, and here we're like getting out again, and he's feeling good, and we were with other fighters. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then he just stands up and. I forgot whatever he said, something. I'm like, dude, sit down.
It was so
I
stupid.
think you're calling into question my ability to fight.
Yeah.
He did. It was something like that. And
Like
I'm
I couldn't fight or I never could
I'm
fight
like-
very well. I'm like,
he would kill you in like 2 seconds, dude. Like, sit down.
Look at Frank.
So
I think he
mad.
called my ability to fight.
that's why I'm just like,
You're so comfortable.
You're right. I can't
You're
fight.
so I can't fight at all. I'm the worst. Right.
Yeah.
What's so funny too is how people don't like realize the sport you were in versus being a sport versus actual fighting. I laugh when I see online people will call out, they'll say, oh, this guy could beat this guy, the UFC fighter, they go, this guy could beat this MMA fighter because they have rules. And what they don't realize is, yeah, but the MMA fighters know exactly the same thing you know, plus the rules. Like, you think they're going to follow those rules
Yeah.
if you get in a
No.
fight? How did you phrase it one time, Frank?
Well,
I
yeah,
mentioned
you
this.
said it.
I laugh when they sit there and they go, well, in a fight, I could poke you in the eyes. I'm like, okay. So you don't think that I'm going to be able to do it better than you can? Because I know how to be in better position. I know distance. I understand tactics and strategy and applying them. And because you could poke me in the eye, but I could poke you in the eye too. But I'll be in a position where you can't poke me back. You know what I mean? And I'll be able to sit there and just crush you with it, you know?
Do you ever go, I could beat a kangaroo, motherfucker?
Yeah, I want to tell all the fans out there, like, there literally is nothing. I mean, that you could say about Frank. I mean, you could obviously, if you talk about his wife and his children, it upsets him, but there isn't anything. It doesn't even faze him. He doesn't even look at the. I don't even think in the 24 years, I don't think you've ever looked at comments. He really, truly, honestly does not care.
Well,
you suck. He's like, okay, yeah, I suck.
Well, I think the thing is, it's not that I was born with an advantage that my confidence is higher than other people. I'm as insecure as the next guy.
Yeah.
I got to prove it all the time, though. So not only did I fight professionally, but remember, I was a bouncer for 10 years of my life.
Yeah.
I fought all the time in a quote unquote street fighting position with guys.
Right.
I got to see how I would do against normal people, and guess what? I was undefeated. It wasn't even close. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like seriously taking candy from babies. You know? Like, it was the distance is so far between me and another guy who doesn't train. It's unreal. It's like I can't. It's hard for me to explain it to people. It's like, see that guy that plays basketball. Now imagine if you only learned how to dribble one time back in high school for about 5 minutes, and now we're going to put you guys versus one-on-one against each other. Who do you think's going to win?
But even worse than that, Frank, because now you're talking, fighting's a little different. At least with basketball on a technical level, you're comparing a skill to whatever the skill is. But when you're talking, because you're not talking about a game, you're just talking about this one-on-one, you've got to control, your adrenaline, you've got fight or flight mode. There's so many other factors in fighting that are so different than just even the skill set. And most people don't even know what they would do if it happened.
Well, and the fact that they don't know to such a degree that I feel most people, especially men, we have a really shitty evaluation of ourselves. Most men think they are better looking and nicer and higher in value than they really are. We really misjudge. When guys, like, you get into their head or where they think they are, it's like, really, wow, okay. But the one area that I think men drastically like overestimate is their ability to fight. It's amazing. It's like, wow, like, you really think you're going to do okay at this? Like, even when I break it down logically to them, like, you spend no time at this. That'd be like me going against a competitive shooter in a shootout. I have more training at that than the average guy does in street fighting. That's a street fighter. And I don't think that I would be competitive at all against somebody who was competing at a world-class level. They go, hey, we're going to compete. Who do you think's going to win? I'm like, that guy? What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, he does this. He competed at a world class level. Yeah. Okay. I mean, yeah. I mean, I shoot and I know some things, but like, I didn't compete. I didn't put that many hours into it. You know, and I don't think that it's going to be that close. Whereas there's guys out there that not only do they think it'll be close, they think they'll win. It's like, you think you have a chance? Like, oh, you think he's going to slip on a banana and break his neck, and that's how you're going to win. No, I think I'll land that shot. I'm like, really? You think that? That's amazing. And the funny part is, I know guys believe that because I call it the epiphany. I cannot tell you how many times, whether it was on the mat, guys come in and challenge me, or in the Rhino, guys would get into an engagement with me, and then after I choked them unconscious, I would wake them up, and I'd be sitting there, and I could see them look at me and look ahead, and the epiphany would hit them. They at that moment in time, they realized, oh my God, he could have molested me if he wanted to. I cannot stop this man.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, it hit them. I look at him like, it's okay, buddy. We've all been there. Like, I remember the first time I got choked out too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it takes a little bit to process for you to realize how inadequate you are at this compared to me. You know?
I have in my show, because again, I pick on people a lot. I'll rip on the audience, and we'll get a heckler once in a while. And I know they have zero. They're not going to win the battle no matter what, because this is a skill set I've been practicing for years.
Yeah, think about it, for hours and hours.
And it's just also part of my nature.
Yes,
it's just who
you are
I
very good.
am.
It's part of you are just like that by nature.
But
you're good at it, yeah.
But so I'll get a heckler once in a while, and if they're good, here's the thing, Frank, and this is kind of when it comes to you fighting someone that doesn't know what they're doing. I assess the situation first, and I do it very quickly. It's the same way you do. And it's like in slow motion for me. I listen to the heckle, whatever it was, and I try to assess, okay, is this a drunk heckle? Is this someone that's just a nice person but just bad timing and think they're going to be funny and contribute to the show? Is this, there's all different kinds of things. And so what I'll do is I'll assess it. First of all, if it was a funny line that they did, and I think it's funny, I'll even let them have the line because I know they're not trying to win the show.
You'd be like, you know what? That was funny.
Oh, that was a good one. But in my mind, I could also throw something back too. But sometimes I choose not to because I pick on everyone so bad. I call it, I've got to give the audience a win once in a while.
Yeah.
And I purposely do that. And I'll handle everything a little differently. If I really want, I'll shut them down bad. The problem is if they're drunk, they think they're helping the show. And they don't realize, like that guy in the back. I didn't really hear him like you guys did because he was in the way back.
Well, he was a heckler, the one that said that about Frank. He was just going on and
but he wasn't heckling me though, which is weird.
He was like, and
it's funny you do that because I've done the same thing fighting in the gym or inside the Rhino. There's been times where if a guy's fighting, but he was fighting because of his buddy, and he's kind of like, he's the sheepdog, and even though he's on the wrong side of this, I'll treat him better.
Yeah.
I won't hurt him that badly.
Oh, really?
I'll go ahead and so
I'm you're picking your players.
But if there are guys that I know that are just, for lack of a better term, they're evil motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe I came over because you just hit a waitress. Yeah, your day's gonna end really bad.
But
like I'm gonna show, like I kind of sit there and go, hey, try to get away. Get up. Oh, wait a minute, you can't. Oh, you're a bitch. Look at your girl. Look at you right now. Look at you just squirming around. I'll actually commentate whooping their ass and embarrass them and really just get to their soul. Where I'll save that for save somebody else from that. That it's okay, we're on different lines of the war field here. But you're not a bad person. I get it. You're fighting for the wrong cause. It's okay. I'm not going to hurt you or not going to eviscerate your spirit.
You do have to see what you were saying, assessing if they've been drinking or not, because that's a whole nother.
Well, the problem
it escalates.
The problem is they're ruining it for the crowd. They don't care what I say back to them because they're drunk. So to them, it's just a party. They don't really care. So it could actually escalate. So what I'll do is I'll kind of shut them down in a different way. I'll make fun of them by talking to the other people in the room about that person. I'll be, gee, they were so friendly in the restroom before the show. I don't understand why they're all of a sudden. So now I'm not talking directly to them, and they kind of shut up because now everyone's just laughing at them. Right. But sometimes I have an advantage too that a lot of people do not have. There's so many little things, just like fighting. There's so many little skill sets and stuff. So what makes a joke funny? It's timing. Timing is if you say a joke, even a good line, but the wrong way, and the timing's bad, it's not going to get a response. So sometimes I'll hear someone say something, and I'll act like I didn't hear them, and I go, oh, what was that? Because now their time is completely off.
Oh, that's
and they usually go, oh, nothing.
Yeah.
No, I think it was a good. What was it you were saying? And they'll shut up the rest of the time because I just ruin their timing. And even if they do repeat the joke, it's never going to be funny because the timing's off. Even my jokes, if I say it with the wrong timing.
Well, they needed the timing of it was that the unspoken, you understand what I was saying without me saying it. So then by me making
I play stupid. Right.
Go ahead, repeat back what did you mean by
right.
I've done the same thing too when guys are being assholes in the crowd. Yeah. One step further than that, I'll sit there and repeat back. I'm like, hey, I took that as this. Is that what you meant by it? Are you trying to be an asshole? They might take it the wrong way.
That's great.
So go ahead, double down. Let's go ahead and put into words what you're doing. Because how many times we all do that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm doing.
You make people look back at themselves.
The mirror.
Right, right.
You're going to look in the mirror.
Mirror.
Let's go ahead and look at this right now. What you're saying.
Yeah.
Is this what you meant? Which is what they meant.
Yeah.
But by you calling them out and making them repeat it or double down on it, you either make them look like a coward because they back away from it.
Yeah.
Or you make them go ahead and double down and say it. Now by you saying it out loud, it just doesn't come, you fuck up the timing.
And it's great. And it is funny how a lot of that, and this is the weirdest thing. I told you I first started watching MMA, not because of the fights. I watched it because of the mind frame. I always went on stage and I was like, wait, how do I handle a bigger group or this kind of thing? And I always wanted to understand, how are these people going to handle fighting on a platform they're not used to? They're not in a gym anymore. They're in front of all these people, and how do they handle it? And some guys do and some guys don't. The lights. But it was always interesting to me. How are you going to perform under this type of...
That's such an aspect of the martial arts world.
Yeah.
That's why I first started fighting. Right there. I never fought for money. To me, money was so that my wife could be happy that I was at the gym. You know what I mean? I tell people, you want to go to the gym? Make it to where because you're going to the gym, your wife gets a new purse. Trust me, you're going to go to the gym quite a bit. You know what I mean? You'll be surprised. My bags are packed, my food's made. Where am I going? You're going to go work out. You know what I mean? So, but testing myself, because so many guys are at the gym or lip service, don't even go to the gym, just talk about what they would do in a real situation.
Yeah.
And, I wasn't walking around necessarily just, hey, you want to fight? Hey, you want to fight?
Yeah.
So how could I get into a fight with somebody and test myself to see if what I was doing, if I'm worth fucking shit? And if it's not, how can I make it better? That's what MMA for me was. The very beginning of my career, that's why I fought. Right there.
Yeah.
So that I could test myself under the lights. Well, let me see how I react, because I realized that I'm probably going to drop down levels, or maybe I'll choke at first. Maybe I'll hesitate. Let me test myself under my, when my parasympathetic nervous system turns off and I'm just, fight, run, how am I going to handle this,
Frank did the opposite of choking. He's so calm. Sometimes he'd walk in the ring, we'd be like, you're standing in the ring. We're like, is he even ready to fight?
Oh my God, so many times the commentators. And I'm like, you guys, he's looked this way for the last 7 fights.
Frank looks a little flat.
I know. They're like, I don't know. It looks like it. I'm like, guys.
I one time had to talk to the California Athletic Commission. I had a phone call meeting to convince them that I wasn't fighting because I was being forced to. Somehow, like, I guess they thought between my wife, Joe Silva, that somehow I was like,
does he want to be here?
yeah, like, that I was being forced into this. I'm like, no. Well, we just saw you, and you walked down to the fight. I'm like, have you not seen my other fights? Like,
I know they're all.
When's the last time you see me run to the
same.
arena, hyped up, slapping myself?
But let me ask you a question. At what point does your adrenaline kick in where, I know you still feel the shots, but at what point does it kick in where you snap past that? Do you know what I'm saying? You can't be so calm that your nervous system doesn't kick in.
You have to watch in
it's
the
kicking
early
in.
fights. In the early fights, when the fight's over and he wins, that's the most. When he runs around and he's like screaming. I've only seen him like that in those moments.
But then you're feeling every shot.
So much
then.
injury.
Always.
Oh, yeah. I can hear people's conversations in the crowd. I can't tell you how many times I've listened to people's plans, where they're going after the fights. While I'm in the middle, like, all right, the guy's like, oh, here comes a punch. I see his shoulder rotating. Like, oh, yeah, no, that club's, I think are they open on Sundays? I meant to make sure I asked my wife.
That's so funny.
funny.
Do we have to wrap it up or no?
Yeah, we call it, that's an
Unless
episode.
Jennifer
so
has something to say. You know how it is.
Never going to talk.
Never gets to talk at home.
I put baby in the corner.
We love her. I was so happy when you were gonna do the podcast because I'm like, you say so many things that he won't say, even about himself, that really contributes to everything. It's so funny because you don't give a shit. You'll say it.
No, I'll say it.
And she only says, you know why she says it, folks? Because there's no consequences. Frank will not hit her. See, Frank? That's the problem.
Oh,
Are you kidding me?
I know, you know how many times we'll finish with this? There's been times we fight, argument, and I flip out.
Argue, but not physical.
Fight?
And I lose my cool. And nobody else can get me to lose my cool besides her. And I just sit there and I told her, like, you realize that full-grown men, if they saw what you're seeing right now, if they were standing inside the lion's den like you are right now, they would have buckled to their knees. Not stand there defiantly like, yeah, whatever. And now you look stupid for that too, just walk off. I'm like,
no, this is so funny. Our therapist told us, it was like,
she loves this line.
Because it's so funny, because I don't see myself like that.
You really don't see yourself that
Babe,
way.
I think that I'm like Mama Tiger. I think that when I love you, I love hard, but I don't think like the therapist told me that I need to have a little less testosterone. I need to like
embrace
my feminine side, not try to fight Frank head on in a masculine way. She was so nice the way she was trying to like say it. Basically like,
calm down, bitch.
Calm down.
Yeah.
Your husband's Frank Mir. Exactly.
I remember the first time it happened. It was like 20 years ago. Jennifer's like, somebody was like, oh, are you from like the East Coast? And she's like, I can't tell you, Frank, how many people think I'm from the East Coast.
It's her attitude.
They just asked me that yesterday at the baby shower. They think I'm from New York.
I said a lot like, babe, it's because I think you're a bitch.
You said that's their nice way of calling you a bitch. Literally yesterday at the baby shower, somebody asked me that. They're like, are you from New York? I'm like, no.
Because New York women are thought of as being strong.
Yeah. Yes, that's not a bad thing.
No.
My New York women,
delivery.
yeah, they've got my back. That's what I'm talking about.
All right. Yeah. Okay, well, hey, another one in the can. Happy where we're going with this. I hope you guys at home, please hit us up on our social media as far as suggestions, likes, dislikes, wherever you want to take the show right now. So I know we can reach you at
Mrs._Mir.
You have me at the underscore. No.
The Frank Mir.
Frank Mir.
He doesn't even know.
Just look up the Frank Mir. It'll pop everywhere.
And then we got Mike
and Official Hammer.
Yes.
And come check out my show, MikeHammerShow.com.
His show is hilarious.
Well, we'll be there.
So
right?
Frank will be there.
March 14th.
Actually, I don't think you can get tickets to that one because we took them all.
Yeah, we took them.
March 14th will be there, yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right, thanks, you guys.
Bye.